So, are you ready to trust your inner guidance without second guessing it? Hmm? Are you wondering, how can I focus and use this intuition that I know I have actively, more practically, on a daily basis? This week, I sat down with three-time best-selling author Jenny McFadden. She is a intuitive. She is a artist, and we explore a grounded, playful path to intuition. Her and I agree on this, and I love her energy, and I love her practical take on how to play with intuition and use intuition as navigation. She's blends psychology, Jenny blends kinesiology, energy medicine, and creativity with her curiosity, and just flips the switch on overthinking to clear knowing. So I think you really enjoy this. Jenny and I had a wonderful time chatting. I love all of her tools, and I hope you do too. Coming up with Magnetize Your Life is going to do a workshop with us with her quantum intuitive healing. She's going to teach us that in a workshop coming up on March 10th. It's a virtual workshop. It's $33. Please join us if you can. And if you're not able to make it live, we are recording it, so you will be able to watch it at your own time as well. Check the show notes for all the information and details on that. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, and welcome to Intuitive Insights. I am your no BS woo-woo coach, Megan McDonough. Today, I'm very excited. So what I do every other week, I'll come on with some insights of my own through my own experience in life or other tools. And I also have guests come on to listen to their story, how they use intuition in their lives, what techniques and tools do they have that we can use for ourselves to make access to intuition much easier. And today I'm just like my new best friend, like old best friend. I absolutely love her. This is Jenny McFadden. She is a three-time best-selling author, most recent book being The Game of Intuition and How to Play It. She has a career of over 30 years dedicated to a whole person health. I love that. I call it whole self health. I like this whole person health. She blends quantum intuition healing, kinesiology, psychology, creativity, and play into a uniquely powerful approach. She's on a mission to share how to play and curiosity are the keys to developing deep trust in our intuition and to be able to receive clear messages from our guidance, including practical steps to restore well-being, vitality, and happiness. Jenny has seen extraordinary changes when we use our intuition to play in the quantum field. I can attest to this. I will share briefly in a moment. We have the ability to transform old patterns and allow new possibilities in our lives in an instant. She wants us all to listen within and remember who we truly are, limitless and powerful beings, far more than just the physical body. I could not agree with all of that anymore.
Hooray.
Welcome, Jean.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is good fun.
I'm really excited to talk to you today. Okay, so we've spoken a couple of times, and you've taken me through your what are you calling your technique? Quantum field
Yeah,
intuition?
so I call it quantum intuition healing.
Okay,
And what
yeah.
we did was the freedom formula. That's what I call it because that's what
Ooh, I
ultimately we
like
get
that.
is
The
freedom.
freedom. Mm,
Freedom from things that have been limiting, past misperceptions, things like that, and then freedom to be who we really are, to be more tuned, more aligned, to be able to heal ourselves. So it's freedom from and freedom to.
yes, I love it. Quantum issue healing, intuition healing. I'm writing it down. Freedom formula. I love that. Not only because I love alliteration, but I do. Okay, so the two questions I have that I ask everyone, and then we'll talk. I want to talk about this quantum intuition healing because you guys, I did a session with Jenny just last night, and I'm not kidding. It's amazing. She's not joking when she says it happens in an instant. So Okay, Jenny, what is intuition in your own words? How do you describe it?
Intuition to me is how we tune in to the energy that's already there. It's how we tune into the infinite field of consciousness, if you like. It's our way of communicating. It's our way of getting the messages for ourselves that's beyond the mind.
Mm,
And it's when we listen to it, it's how we move into flow. It helps us heal. It helps us create. Helps us to make choices about things that are a match for who we are, that are aligned with our purpose instead of what we think we should do.
mhm, mhm, should,
That's
that long I call
that's
that
what
the
it is,
long
and that's why it's
four-letter
so
word.
important. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. No, I was just saying I call should the long four-letter word.
Love it.
And I cut you off, I'm sorry, what were you saying? You finished I got so
Oh,
excited
I don't know. I was
sharing
just
joke.
grabbing on there, so but that's my view of, like, that's what it is to me, and that's why
Yeah,
it's important.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, okay, so how do you use it in your life? Obviously, I know you use it in your work, but how do you use it? Let's refine that question a bit more. But how do you use it in your life now, and how did you use it in your life when you began working with it as a
Right.
tool of your lifestyle?
How I use it now? All the time. It's
Mhm.
who I am. It's not something I do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
something that I am and that I do automatically. I can't imagine anybody, only like and I used to be a really head person, and I still value the mind. It's not that I but together, you put them together, like, this is really powerful, and for me, I use it all the time if I need to make a decision. When I read a book, like my last book, I went to guidance, I went to intuition and said, "What's this book about?" Right? So I'm like, I use it for literally for everything.
Yeah,
And of course,
yeah,
my knowledge comes in, my experience comes in, all of that as well. It's all we're whole, everything that we experience and know, and that's all part of us. But this is the part that seems to have been neglected. And where I started, like I started, if I go a bit further back to when I was younger, I was brought up, rational, logical,
mm,
education, this is not something I was really tuned into at all. In fact, I
mm,
remember, I think I was saying to the other day, I remember a friend of mine's older brother was into astral travel, and I was like,
mm.
"What on earth? You've got like, don't even talk to me about that." Like, so scornful. Like, so for me to end up where I am now is pretty crazy to me. But I think it's been purposeful in that for me, I feel like I'm very grounded at the same time as connected.
Mm,
And I
mhm.
think that's a really important combination. So part of me is still very grounded in I still like to understand, even though I know now I don't have to.
Yeah.
Whereas before I
Yes,
know what I needed to understand. Now I know I
right,
don't need to understand. I still like to understand how things
right.
work and what I think is really going on, but I actually have to let go of it's important to actually know. So even when we talk about the quantum field and there's all this quantum physics that goes with it, I
Yeah,
find that really interesting, but I
yeah,
know I don't have to know it in order to play in the field or to have it, to have these instant and amazing changes so instantly through just something we've always known how to do. We just didn't know. We knew.
yeah. Yeah, you said the word play, and I love that you say creativity and play because I've found in my experience that I agree with you about that idea of it. It's like a conscious field that's within us and outside of us, and that's kind of the oneness of all things. But the energy of it is not dictatorial. It is not like rigid. It is not linear. It is not angular. It's not from the mind. It is creative. It's feminine. It's
Yeah,
playful, creative. It's liquidish, meaning like goes everywhere and all, there's no one way. And you're an artist as well, right? I was just about to say it's like the artist's path. There is no if you hit A then and B, then you're gonna get C. It's like, you just do what you do and you see what happens.
yeah. I agree. And like for me, intuition and creativity are the same energy.
Yes.
When I'm in one or the other, like it's almost like I remember you talking about this actually at some point. But for me, it's like when, I'm in the intuitive like, I'm tuned in and intuitive, It awakens what is a creative aspect. Like, there's this energy, like, it
Yes.
one's not, or if I'm in the creative, it
Yep.
opens the intuitive. Like, it's
Yeah.
like one way or the other. You talked about this in a different way. I think recently I
I
heard you talking
did.
about.
I was saying that intuition is potential creativity, and creativity is kinetic intuition.
That's it, which was I thought was really a fantastic way of describing it. I hadn't heard that
Yeah.
before. So for me, creativity and like there's same energy, and I think for me that like that's how they become intertwined so easily, and how one reinforces the other. But it's within all of us, the creativity comes out in different ways, right? It's just
Yeah.
I happen to be an artist, but for it's the same energy for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I found once I tapped back into my intuition and listening again, and I hadn't realized I stopped, but I had. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, little layers of life get in the way, and you're like, "My god, I haven't listened to myself in a long time," you know? And then it was like this wellspring of creativity came out of me, once I kind of realigned that piece. But then also, if and when, you just kind of get into something and like finger paint, for God's sake, that's my favorite thing to do because there's no thinking, there's no fine lines. It's just playing and feeling paint, you know?
totally.
And that takes you out of your head and directly into the flow of intuition. So yeah, I completely agree that they're one and the same. Now, tell me, you mentioned that you were a medical intuitive, is that right?
Yeah, so I started out my career in I was actually an art teacher when I started. Uh,
You were what?
many years ago, an art teacher.
Oh,
That's actually where I started my career. It was a long
amazing.
time ago, I won't say how long,
Yeah.
but eventually one thing led to another, and my background is in psychology,
Mm,
and I did a lot of training in that area. I didn't
yeah,
practice as a psychologist, but
right.
that was my training. I did a lot of work in education and in universities with the stuff that I knew how to do. And it's where our first book I wrote a book with my mum actually in
Oh,
the
that's
'90s.
amazing.
It's called Diet
That's
No
amazing.
More, and it's actually because that was one of the things that I had been struggling with in my life was the whole
Mm,
weight issue,
yeah.
both of us, that's why, we've got the same body
Mm.
type, whatever, whatever. Um, as a result of doing that, that's a bestseller, and we did a lot of stuff around Australia and in the US as well. It led me to asking more questions, not just the psychology, but I started to ask about the unconscious. Then I started to ask about energy. And then so one thing led to another. And then my son had eczema. I had my son when I was 40, and he had eczema. And I thought one day, you know what? If I take him one more time to the doctor and they tell me they don't know why he's got this eczema, I'm going to see a kinesiologist because I'd
Mm,
heard about that. And this is like
yeah.
20 years ago. And I went there, and she did this kind of muscle testing stuff through me for him, and said, "Right, he's got a problem with wheat." And I went, "Oh, okay." She said, so 2 days later, I took him off wheat. 2 days later, he was a different kid. He had energy. He was bouncing around. The blackness under his eyes had
Yeah, yeah.
disappeared. I thought, "I have to know how to do this." So I went back to school. I was like mid-40s and went, "Okay, I'm learning how to do this." And from there, and even then, I was still saying, "I need to find the most rational teacher I can find."
Mhm, mhm.
Right. Oh, I want someone that's really grounded. I can't do this woo-woo thing, someone's gonna do this fluffy
I
stuff that
agree.
anyway,
Yep.
so one thing so that's an energy modality, it's energy medicine. So it took me into energy medicine, and that's where I learned when I learned EFT, and it was like 20 years ago. It's when I learned a lot of other modalities, and I started to get into the energy. I started to feel things in my body. Started to get any you get the tingling, you get the rush, you
Yes.
get the
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I was like, "What is that?" Like, "That's weird." Anyway, one thing led to another. I did a lot of other did some like, at the time, it was a kind of like a hands-off healing modality. There was reconnective healing. There's a few different things. And as I started to do that, I realized as I would work with someone, and massage people will say the same, although I wasn't touching them, I would start to have messages about I'm suddenly working around someone's ankle, for example. And I'm there, I'm working on this guy's ankle. I'm going, what? And I'm doing this thing, and I'm going like this. afterwards he goes, "Yeah, that" he showed me his ankle, it was completely burned, right? It was like I couldn't see his ankle when I was doing it. And then I started to get images in my mind, things like that, and I realized because one of my friends was, dean at a natural medicine college,
Mm,
we had been talking about medical intuition, and I realized
mm,
this is what this is. And
mm.
so I sought out a couple of I actually went back to my kinesiology class and said, "Anyone know any medical intuitive teachers?" Or like, this anyone like this is not mainstream at the time. This was like, you ask that, and Carolyn Mace had just come on the scene kind of thing, was
Sure.
a bit known.
Yep.
And, so one person said to me, "Yeah, I know someone over" like, I live in Sydney in Australia, "over at Bondi, like a medical doctor." And another person said to me no, sorry, it wasn't another person I saw the next day, of course,
Mhm.
in a, one of these sort of spiritual papers, there was a qigong master coming from Perth to Sydney who was a medical intuitive. Long story short, they're both my best friends now, and I learned what they learnt,
Yeah.
uh, and from bit by bit, both of them work in different ways, like, my qigong master is now retired. My other friend, Judy Moss, who's a doctor, she's retired, but this is where it became an enmeshment of, like, all the things it led me further and further down that track.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
particularly, it led me because I started to have other visions and things, and so I started to understand the power of what we can know without realizing we know it, and Qigong develops that. Qigong is an energy practice that actually makes that stronger. So for me, that's where that led, but also, my other friend Judy, we and to this day, so it's been like 20 years, we meet every 2 weeks at a cafe. We've done it for 20 years now.
Mm.
And we, play and create new intuition games. We That's what we do.
Oh, I love that.
So we have so, like, fun, we laugh, and then I bring whatever I've been creating, and sometimes we do stuff together or separately or whatever, but we have the same discussions, like, we can have a discussion like I had with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's this like-mindedness and we just get on.
Yeah. Yeah, like we've been known each other forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, are you mostly visual when you get, messages, or do you get, the audience as well?
You think I'd be visual, wouldn't you? Like, being an
Well, you
artist?
just said visions of several times, so I was
Well,
wondering.
yes, so I had, like, dreams and things like that and other
Yeah, yeah.
typically, I'm more, kinesthetic. I'm more a
Mhm.
feeler, I'm more in my
You
body.
feel it all. Yeah, yeah.
Like, I get the sense it usually starts in
Mhm.
my I would say I'm more a knower. I
Mm, mhm,
know,
mhm,
and
mhm,
my
mhm.
body aligns with it, and sometimes
Mm.
then I will see things, like Judy will say to me when we work together, suddenly her vision stuff opens up, like, she can suddenly visualize, whereas normally she can't. So it's sort of I must without knowing it, but I have another friend who's really visual, who really sees stuff really clearly, and I don't see it that way. So, yeah. What about you? I mean, how do you
Well, yeah, I have it's interesting when I read people. I personally am a big visual person. So visuals are kind of my forte, like not forte, but the thing that I would just naturally see and do. But I also hear things,
That's cool.
and I also feel things. So it's like it really I've found like when I'm reading somebody and I'm getting a lot of words, you know, I'll ask them if they or do you hear things a lot? Like
Um,
are you more of a audio learner, what have you, and usually it is. And if I'm getting, like, wicked wild visuals back to back to back, I'm like, "Are you a visual person?" Like, so it's kind
Right.
of like
Yeah,
I
okay.
kind of, it kind of aligns with whoever it is that I'm reading. Reading is feels is like the wrong listening to, really, you know? And so it changes, it depends on the situation. Like, I was sharing with you, so I went camping this weekend, and now I'm knee deep in this rabbit hole of the Ho Chunk tribe that we were that because I felt this presence, but I was seeing a lot of things and I was hearing a lot of things, but it was
Yeah.
back and forth. It would go back from seeing, but mostly visuals and then also hearing.
I
Um,
love that. Great story.
yeah,
I
it
should
was
try.
it was
Yeah, the
wild.
chief.
Yeah, the chief, and then it's funny because this is also so okay, I'll just tell the story real quick to catch viewers up, but, so I felt this, like, chief's presence, and then I kept seeing him put his finger to his mouth, like, "Shh, be quiet," but it wasn't quite be quiet. He was telling me something, And then, I saw a big white light around the heart and the chest area, and then I heard rumbling of the earth, the earth is rumbling, and I was kind of trying to figure out what that meant, and just trying to be like, "What is all this?" And he was showing me, like, closing my eyes, like, blind. He did that once and was, like, putting mud on the face for, like, a war and whatever. Anyway, turns out this female, and I am not even gonna attempt to say her name, but it was like Glory of the Morning, I think was her American name,
Yeah.
or not
Yeah.
American, English name. And her sons one of her sons' name was White White Chest, and then one of his sons' names was, like, Rumbles the Earth or something like that. It was literally like the earth rumbling when he steps loud or something. And then another one of his sons he was called Blind because he had tried to stop a fight between his son and somebody else, and he got a knife to his eye. Anyway, so I'm way deep in this. Anyway, it's and I just find it like so okay. So I have a saying about curiosity about life in general called that it's stay curious, play, right?
Yeah.
And then when you get curious, it's like you get to learn more and not just about like, I have this visual, but now I'm getting some information about the native tribes of near where I'm living.
It's so cool.
Yeah, but also like, and then I've had some dreams that did the same thing too. But oh, what was I going to say? But curiosity is a way of connection. Intuition is a connector, I feel. I don't know. What do you
They
feel?
are. Totally agree. And I
Yeah.
think as well with, like, the whole play and curiosity thing, like, for me, one of the biggest thing that people seem to have trouble with, and I get it, that we'll ask about is, "Well, how do I know I'm connected? How do I get connected in
Yes.
if I'm stressed, if I'm tired, if I'm,
Yeah.
I'm worried about something? How do I know, and how can I be sure that it's right?" And or sometimes people will say to me, I can't connect, like, I'm disconnected, and I go, "No,
Mm.
you are n there's no way you're ever disconnected." But for whatever
Yes.
reason, maybe your energy's lower or,
Mm.
something's going on. And so for me, play and curiosity are the antidote. That's how you lift your energy. That's how you open it up. Because as soon as you imagine you be like a kid and you remember when
Yeah.
it was just fun to play a game and you didn't care, like, maybe you wanna win, but it's still, like, you're just fun and
Yes.
you just move into this whole different space that's not in the head. It's not all the
Mm.
energy up in the head. It's like for me, like, I think the 2 words, "I wonder," are
Mm.
anytime
Mhm.
someone
I
feels
love
stuck,
that.
anytime you're not sure, am I connected in or I just wanna get a quick answer and I'll lift my energy, just think, "I wonder," 'cause as soon as you do, you get into that it goes into that playful and curious space, and your energy goes straight out. Opens up straight away, like, even if you're sitting there, like, listening to this, think, "I wonder." And so, like, for
Yeah.
me, it's like my head goes, "Woo,"
Yes. Yes.
like that, straight away. So, that's why it's so important to me, like, it's a flow, it's a way of changing our state, and it is the state of connection, and it is where you find it. I don't
Yeah.
know, I can't explain it. How would you
No, it does, and I was gonna ask you if you have so I've had some, people that I've worked with who said, like, wanting to connect with someone who's crossed over, right? And it's kind of like they say they can't hear them, they can't. And so what I suggested, and then I wanna ask you if you what kind of things you would and if this is something you would talk to people about, but is that it's not like it's almost like everyone wants it's like our ideas in our mind are that the person is gonna come in like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, on that thing. You know
Yeah,
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah,
Like
no.
that little, like, that message, that video message that they would play, like,
Right.
but it's never like that.
It's
It's
like you're on
like
Star Trek, and
right,
it
right,
come that way.
right. They're like
Yeah.
they just appear.
I
But
think some
it's
people
not.
do, probably, but I don't.
Well, some people may have that, but, that's true. That is true. I've not experienced that. What
No, me
I have
neither.
experienced more is, um, messages through messengers. So, like a bird or a butterfly or, seeing something that reminds you of something or you hear their voice. That's the one that I all of a sudden, it's just like they say you hear somebody say something just like they might have said, and that's them. That's not you.
Yeah, and it's suddenly reminded. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what do you I mean, is that something that you've talked to people about, or do you have, like, a game or something?
So
Oh.
you mean to have to tune in or to
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I use lots of different ways to tune in.
Yeah.
So, I combine when someone's really stuck or at first, I combine one that I have, which is a combination of what we do in Qigong, which is connecting heaven and earth, which is up there, down there. So, like, being connected upwards and be connected downwards, right? So you're grounded and connected at the same time. And
Mhm.
then, I'll do some of the heart coherence stuff, which is our modern science, right? Our understanding of the heart, so that you have both. So that's one way I do. Other ways, I just use words. I find and I have a way of checking as well. So I'm a bit like you. I'm like practical woo here.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so for me, it's really important that someone be able to tune in and figure out, am I really connected in? So the first one is I will use other words. I might use, like, for example, when I came on before here, my quick way of doing it is I use words because words are frequency,
Yes.
especially if you sit with the energy of them as you say them, right? So for
Mhm.
example, I am now
Mhm.
connected, enlightened, whatever words come to me, empowered, open and curious, unattached to the result, thank you, think so I just do whatever comes to me, and then I go, and I just check, am I connected? Yes. And the reason I do that is because in the past, when I would come onto something like this, or I'm starting a new program in years gone by, and I'd be on Zoom, and I'd be excited. The whole thing was shut down, right? I
Mhm.
had it so many times now. I know that if my energy is not grounded, because I tend to be a grounded person, if it's
Mhm.
not grounded, it affects what's around me and shows me I'm not grounded. First time it
Mhm.
happened, I went, "What's going on?" And my husband's an electrical engineer, and so
Oh, wow.
and one time the whole thing shut down. He said to me, "That's not actually possible. What just happened? Like, that's not actually possible." And he keeps complaining that I keep blowing up the PowerPoint over here because I don't know why that PowerPoint keeps blowing up. Anyway, but I'm just saying that's the power of being connected in. It's the power of our energy, which is
Yes.
why it's important to get connected. So there are different ways I use to tune in. Sometimes you can just use others. I use other statements, whatever works. But here's the thing that I find useful and practical is that I teach people that after you've done the connecting in, if you want to be, because people say, well, how can I trust what messages I get next? How can I be sure it's not me making it up?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's
'cause
why I
sometimes
start
you're
with it.
just like, "Am I making this up?"
Yeah, because it
Like,
does feel like that. I have to say, like,
right.
honestly, it can feel like that.
Well, honestly, to be
Yeah.
fair, I was like, thank God I saw that thing about the tribe, because I was like, "Am I losing my goddamn
Yeah.
mind?" You know what I mean? But
I
I'm like,
get it.
"Oh, no, all this stuff is there. There's confirmation." Go ahead. Sorry, what were you
That's
saying?
right. And as we go along, we become more confident that what we're getting because I've had more experience and we've been practicing.
Yes.
And it does take practice. It's like some people are born with it. I never was born with it, so I'm here to teach that not everyone is, and it's okay. Like it just takes practice. But do
Yeah.
it in a fun way.
Yeah.
And if you want to check, like I use a number line. Like that's how
Mm.
easy it is. Like so, imagine got a number line in front of you. It's written out from 0 to 100 or 0 to 10. I just say so after you've tuned in, connected, and done the words, whatever. Then I'll say, okay, close your eyes. Now you're going to set your intention. You remember your eyes are the windows to your soul. Your eyes know.
Mhm.
Your eyes are your knowing as well. Close your eyes and set your intention. You're just going to check out of 10 or out of 100, how connected are you? The
Mm.
ideal being your eyes lock on 10 or 100, right? The top.
Mhm.
Let's say it's 100. And so close your eyes, open your eyes, and you just let your eyes go soft and scan back and forth until they lock on something. If it's 100, you know that what you get next you can trust. Even if
Mm.
you think you're not sure exactly that
Oh, I love that
you think
so
you
much.
made it up. No, you didn't. Go
Yeah.
with it. Just trust that yeah, and you don't have by the way, you don't have to recheck the scanning 10 times, "Well, did I really get that right?" No, that's part of learning to trust as well. And if someone
Yes.
is not 100, what do you do?
Mhm.
Simple. Take a couple of deep breaths. That's one way of doing it. Then check again. Drink water. It's so important. If you're dehydrated, remember water is about flow, water holds energy, the body is made of nearly
Mhm.
water, like we're a receiving instrument here.
Mhm.
So if you and you that can go out of balance very quickly. When I was a kinesiologist,
Mhm.
I used to test people for that.
Yeah.
I would do muscle testings, if their water's out, and it's very quickly, especially when you're working in the intuitive way and then with the energy, it can quickly go out of balance. So anytime you feel like if that's not 100, drink water, check again. Guaranteed most of the time it will shift to 100. Or if any
Mhm.
time during the process you're working and you're wanting to receive messages and you're going, I'm just not getting it. Drink water.
Mhm.
Drink water. That's all. It's simple, honestly, simple as that. It works for me all the time.
I love that. I love how simple and practical that is.
It really is.
Right.
It really is.
And it's true. You need I mean, yeah, it's like you're teaching people to trust, that's it. In a world of fear. Yeah, there you go, there's your water. In a world of fear and anxiety, that seems to be escalating
Yeah.
every
Very true.
second.
Very true. And for me, what we see outside, we need to acknowledge is also inside. And that's where we
Agreed.
can use our intuition to go, okay, so I'm seeing this. I wonder how that's reflected within me so that I'll speak for myself, responsible for what I'm creating. I believe I create the whole of my reality.
Mhm.
Stuff shows up outside me to show me stuff that's also inside me. And here's the thing now that I think is really important. Very often people misinterpret that as, let's say I see someone outside myself being angry.
Mhm.
All right. Let's cut me off in the, oh, driving in an erratic way and showing, they've got a bit of road rage going on. Instead of going, well, am I angry? Right.
Mhm.
Which is sort of
Mhm.
the direct, as if I am that, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Instead
Mhm.
of that, I use my intuition and go in and ask, what is that within me? I'm
Mm.
completely open to the answer. So it may be that, I've been angry with beating myself up. It's usually about me, not about maybe I've been beating myself up about something. But I want to give you a different example. It's like the same example going back to when these things would shut down, the technology would shut down.
Yeah, yeah.
One time when I did my last book launch, actually what happened is the modem shut down. The modem, like 3 days before, the modem stopped working.
Oh, no.
I was like, "So I've got I can't do my book launch, right? I've got
Yeah,
this
yeah,
online
yeah.
thing." I'm like, "Oh, no." My husband goes, "Well, look, I don't know if we can get one in time." Anyway, I went inside and I asked, "What is this within me?
Mm.
Is
Mm.
this that same message again?
Yeah.
Am I not grounded?" Right? That's what I mean about, is it the same direct reflection? And the message I got was different. The message I got
Mm.
back was, "No, that this time what's going on is your energy's upgraded. Your energy's
Mm.
changed. So you need a so on the outside, you need another piece of technology here. You need a change there too." It's like I had an upgrade.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean about, it's not always what you think it is. It's really important to ask, and that's why intuition can show you.
Yes, and I feel like this is a beautiful segue into your, quantum intuition freedom formula,
I love that you awesome.
because even last night when we were going through this, and I'll have you speak to it in a second, but, like, you had asked me a question and I was like, I didn't know I knew the answer, but in a way I was kind of like, I could feel my ego brain was on in a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
I've thought maybe I was gonna know what it was, or I had ideas of what it was, and something totally out of left field came out.
Yep.
And then
Isn't
I
it
was like, "Well,
curious?
that's interesting."
It's really interesting. And this is the thing, is that our intuition can pinpoint exactly where there are unconscious patterns in our field that are not supporting us at the moment. So imagine if we've come, like for me, it's like I imagine we've all come into this life that we're
Yeah.
experiencing with all the past history. Let's call it past, even though we know it's probably parallel.
Right, right.
All right, all the stuff we've experienced, all the things we've um forever, however our old our soul is. It's in the quantum field. Everything is in the quantum field. And there's a lot of, let's call them unconscious patterns. They're things that have been experiences. There are memories. There are emotions. There are contracts we've made. There are all kinds of things we have no awareness of. And sometimes we do, like you have a past life experience, you get that's like an insight. You have sometimes you get that, you remember, but most of it is unconscious. And what happens is they're in our field and they provide information on, you know, we actually are influenced by what we have experienced before. No different than if what you've had in this life is you had a really difficult experience in your childhood, and that is still there and affecting you in the present.
Mhm,
Right?
mhm.
So
Yeah.
sometimes I would call it that what we have is more reactivity. It's like we can find ourselves being really reactive to something and feel like this is a normal way to react, isn't it? But actually, when we have repeated, like say there's a healing crisis or it's something we keep reacting to, even though we've worked on it or whatever, is it that actually what we have are these unconscious patterns that are driving it, that are holding them up because they're there to keep us safe.
Mhm,
They're there to
mhm.
protect us. They're not
Yes.
there to cause a problem. They're there
Yep.
because we had an experience some time long ago. It's like, "Oh, I remember that because that was not something I want to experience again." So if my body feels like this is happening again, it's going to cause resistance or
Mm.
reactivity in some way, and it's the nature of it being unconscious, we don't realize it's happening. But more and more, and now I can now see how in myself, in all of us, I thought this is a normal way to react to something, and when I go in and my intuition can pinpoint exactly where that came from, it's like this energy egg. It's what kind of like looks to me like you
Yeah.
open when your awareness sees it and opens it up, it has the possibility now to shift, and that's where you're in the quantum field actually working with bringing awareness to something and then being able to change it. So you can in the present, you can then find that you can make different choices. You're not feel driven. There's this space appears. You don't feel the same about things. And it's quite a weird experience. You expect yourself to respond to something and then you don't. Does that
Which
make sense to you?
yeah, it does. It happened to me today, and I like how you phrased the thing. And so, okay, I'm right. I'll tell you what I wrote down too while you were talking. So there's been I like how you described like these emotions or thoughts or patterns as kind of like when we were describing it, I heard it and saw it as like frequencies living in your aura,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know, and that they were like whenever I've read someone and looked at like a past life or a spirit guide or a spirit guide usually, and it was like and sometimes there's some that weigh the energy field down. And it's not because they're evil or misaligned, but they've always come to protect.
Yeah.
And so I would always say, you're making me rethink this thing that I've said, which is, the universe is a yes man. So if you say I'm hungry, it gives you an apple and you're like, great. And you have a bite of the apple, but you're like, I don't need this whole apple. So you just like leave it to rot in your energy field. Rotting's probably not the best word, but it's still sitting there, but it's no longer serving you. So now it's like cluttering your energy field.
Yes.
And it's not we just have to say, "Thank you for coming when I needed you. It's time for you to move along." But something I have been seeing a lot lately, I haven't really talked about it much, but is in looking at the aura, like mine when I'm doing running, like kind of working my tools and stuff to kind of ground, is I'm seeing this crystalline the best way I can explain it is a crystalline energy matrix. So it looks like little dots connected with little lines, all like it just looks like a fluid moving matrix made of crystalline light. And when as you're talking about this and as the quantum field, I'm like, I'm wondering if this is what I'm seeing is the quantum field that kind of looks like that it's how it's appearing to me.
Yeah. It could well be. I haven't actually seen that because you're quite
Yeah.
visual, right? So
I do get
yeah,
visions.
that's I would agree. And I don't know if the quantum field has changed. I know that we're evolving.
Yeah, it's moving. It seems like it's not stagnant at all. It's
Mm,
like
yeah.
ebbing and flowing. But what is interesting about this energy matrix thing is it doesn't hold an energy, a frequency. This thing that I'm seeing, this crystalline matrix thing. Whereas like whereas, like we were talking, like an emotion or a thought or whatever could be emotionally charged. Like, I love how you say that because that's a beautiful practical thing to understand that, like, that's where a pattern lies, because it
Mm.
pulls emotion up and out of me
Yep,
consistently,
yep.
and so therefore that's a frequency living in my field.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so that's for me, the frequencies are like we call them memories, we call them experiences, we call them whatever we've got names that we describe, but actually they're all
Yeah.
just frequencies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what they do is inform. They inform our field, they inform our responses without us realizing.
Mhm, yes,
So,
yeah,
and because they're there for a purpose, a positive reason, accept that. What happens is it's protecting us for something we don't need protection from anymore.
yes.
That's the issue, is that, for example, they if I think of can't think of an example. I was gonna give an example that's probably not the right one. But can you give an example of, like, for me, it's like when I talk with someone, what we're looking for, what the intuitive our intuition does is pinpoint where, at what level, there are different frequency, sort of bands, where something, the original thing came from.
Mhm.
And it might be, you might not even find that it's yours. It can be generational, can be even DNA, can be epigenetic, it can be a soul awareness thing. It can even be something that I saw one of the, I was shown. It can be what's called a fractal pattern. In other words, it's a pattern that's existed across
Yes,
dimensions,
love that.
which is
That
like, I
the
was like, when
visual
I
is
was like, "What is
phenomenal.
that? I don't
Yeah,
understand." So I
yeah.
was shown, it's like, okay, this is something that is almost like a fundamental survival pattern. And once we clear those things, it actually makes a huge, I actually thank you whoever provided this process, this freedom formula, because I've seen things like someone who I didn't know was having panic attacks every day. She was saying that she was having great difficulty and was waking up in the middle of the night and had been having a lot of anxiety. So we did this. I don't have to know or dig into really, but she just wanted to get on with things because she was doing a presentation. She wanted to be able to get that started. And I spoke to her like a week and a half later, and she said, "I haven't. I was having panic attacks every day. I haven't had one since." Right? And I was like, she said, "I woke up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I must be about to have a panic attack." She said, "I waited and I waited." And we laughed, right? Because it
Yeah.
didn't happen. She didn't happen. And so
Where's the damn panic attack?
I know, we were like, "What is this?"
I woke up for this. Where the heck are you?
And I've just seen, I like seen someone who was struggling with, it's in every, it happens to us all the time. Wherever there's resistance, something I want to do, or it's just not happening, or I don't know what to do next, or I don't know what the decisions are, or I've got some old emotional stuff that keeps coming up, but it's there. And so someone else was like, she's sort of a medium, really. Like she really is, but had been doing it in years gone past. And for some reason, she just got into this space of like, I can't do it. I'm not connected.
Mm,
She was saying, "Oh, I'm just not confident." I said, I don't think this is about your confidence at all. My intuition was, this is not about your confidence. This is about some other pattern. So we just did one session. She sent me a message while she was driving home afterwards saying, "Oh my God, I can see everything. Everything's open." She was going, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." It's like, how instant is, I was going, "Whoa, okay, that's awesome."
but
I
yeah,
mean,
like, jeez.
yeah, I was as
Drive
stunned
home
as she
safe.
was. That's what I mean about it. Other times it's things like someone who want to write a book. She wants to write, but for something she's just not, it's just not coming, it's not flowing. So we did some stuff. And what happens is patterns come up that show you where the resistance is, where the unconscious stuff is that you might not even realize is connected. It can be from this life, is not connected to what you're experiencing now. It's like you're unconscious of it. But there's something stopping you. For example, it could be some experience you had when your mum told you you're no good at that,
Mm,
and you remember because you don't want to be, because how you felt at that time. It's like, well, your body's decided, your consciousness has decided, I'm not going there again because that does not feel good. I want to be approved of. I want to be loved. I want to be. And if I do that, I'm not. And we make these sort of decisions about what that experience means, and then our body lives by it in order that we will still be able to make sure that we're loved and that we're free and that we feel strong and that all the things that we want to be. Because
Mhm.
those anything that's um, related to or feels like that experience, I don't want that. And so we feel find resistance. Did a session. So I spoke to her a couple of weeks later, and she said, "Yeah, I said any difference?" And she said, "Well, I started reading more books. All of a sudden, I've like read a lot of books in 1 week." And I said to her, "I think you're preparing to
Mm.
write."
Yeah, yeah,
And then she sent me a message like a couple of days ago saying, "I've started. I started. I started. I've started." I said I'd do half an hour, and I did an hour, and it all just started flowing out. So it's, I mean, I don't know whether there's no limit, but it's helping us really understand who we think we are is being
yeah,
driven by things that we don't realize that are there, and we are ready to not have those anymore when we don't need them anymore,
yeah.
so that we
So,
can, you know.
how would you explain it? Like, I'll speak to how I experienced it, and then I'd love to hear how you
Yeah, great.
explain it. But I mean, in a way, it was kind of like an archaeological mission, right? Of like, where, what's the, what's the thing that you feel is what's the gold you want to look for, right?
Yep, yep.
And then where might we look for it?
Yes,
And then what is it behind, and that's the thing that's emotionally charged.
yes.
That's the thing that emotionally charged echoes, and then you were able to kind of take all those, like, yeah, 'cause I'm seeing that crystalline matrix again. It's like a web, it's
Yeah.
like a
Yep.
web of, like, energy connection that surrounds you. And then also, and the thing that I love so much about the intuition work and making it more everyday, practical for, that to use all the time, because it puts the power back in your hands. It reminds you, like, even just that little session and whatever I've done and known and whatever, but, like, it's like, "Oh, yeah, we have the power to shift." It's
We
like
do.
turning it on, turning it off.
We do, and we have now we understand the power of the heart intelligence.
Mhm. Yes,
We
yes.
understand how the connection there, how important that is now, and how
Mhm.
that energy field, that Taurus energy field is
Yes, I
so
talk about
powerful.
that guy
It's
all
the
the
thing,
time.
right?
Yeah.
That's the and for me, like, when you're talking about the crystalline energy field, it's really interesting because it reminds me of years ago I was working, well, I did a lot of training with a guy called Richard Bartlett, who does matrix
Mm,
energetics, who just passed away
mm,
this year, actually.
mm,
And he used to you'll probably be able to still find videos on YouTube, where he would do
mhm,
something called a 2 point, because you don't have to know anything, and he would go, "There's a point there, and
mhm,
there's a point here," and he would
mhm,
connect the 2. So it's a bit like the same thing as, like, there are points in the field,
mm,
and maybe you're actually seeing your point in the field. I don't know.
mm.
Like, maybe you're seeing significant points, but for me, that very much reminds me of doing when I used to do that 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 process with him.
So, okay, so how, in your words, how would you explain the quantum intuition healing?
I would describe it as using your intuition
Mhm.
to go into the field of consciousness. Some people might call it your Akashic records even, right?
Yeah, yeah, yes,
We have
yes.
different cultures call it different things.
Yep.
I'll call it the quantum field, and find pinpoint with your own awareness the exact things that are you've been unaware of, that your intuition is your consciousness, your awareness knows you don't need anymore.
Mm,
That's been supporting something that's not working for you. So another person I worked with who he had tremors. He has tremors in his 70s. And this is the story people know about this. He had an experience when he was younger of his mum putting him in an orphanage, even though his mum was still alive, but his mum had mental health issues.
mm,
And when we did this process, he said, "I've done all the healing. I've done the forgiveness. I've done that." And I said, "Yeah, okay, as an adult." And when we did the process, the same thing came up again. It was still about his mum and being in the orphanage.
mm,
And except that he was, I think, 5 or 4, 3. He was quite young. And he said, "I'm seeing myself at that age." And so the difference was, even though we've done the healing as an adult, the forgiveness part, what came up was the abandonment part. The
mm,
abandonment pattern was still there. And that's what came to him, that he opened up. He's like, "Oh, I'm seeing actually it's not about forgiveness, is I still have a sense of abandonment as a
Yeah.
child."
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was just that was that was a significant pattern that was still there. And when we that pattern was transmuted, he wrote to me 4 days later and said, "My tremors have significantly dropped down. The only time," he said, if they start up again, I take a couple of deep breaths and then it stops."
It's amazing.
So, it's like it's what I'm saying is it's like we're not the healing can happen because there's something the body's trying to deal with that's unconscious still. And,
Yeah.
that's not to say
Right.
everything we do all the practical things we do are really important as well. But
And it's
this
also like the body's going, "Ugh, thank you for listening."
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, absolutely. Well, it's something else that's not having to deal with, like, 'cause I guess this is like us really understanding we are not just a physical being.
We are not. No. We're both energy and physical. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's pretty incredible, like, how this works. I can't believe it's so simple, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess it is the culmination of, like, everything I've not learned how to do. It's all the pieces that I've seen, all the
Right.
powerful pieces in one place.
Right.
And who knows, it may evolve even further. I don't know, but it's right
Well,
now.
I mean, I think there's something to it because, when you find and we talked about this, when you discover something, when you get an insight intuitively within you, it's like your whole makeup shifts, and it sticks.
Yes,
It's different when someone else is telling you, and that's the
totally.
part that I'm excited about and interested in more so with with read it's like, I don't wanna just read people and look 'cause who that doesn't really help anybody. It's a Band-Aid. What really shifts is when they can come to it themselves and see it and
Yeah.
help, be empowered to shift it.
And that's why I think when I was probably about thinking about it this morning actually, when I was probably after I did kinesiology, it was about 4 or 5 years after I'd done that training, I got the message, "You need to stop using all tools." The intuition was
Yes,
like,
you
"You
said
need to
that.
stop. No, you need to move out of this clinic that you're working in." Oh, like a typical you use a massage table, people like, you do kinesiology.
Yeah.
It's like, "No, you need to get rid of that. You need to get no books, no cards, manuals, no nothing, nothing." And I was like, "Oh gosh." That's scary,
Or
right?
like, "You need to go ride bareback."
Yeah, yeah. You need to go right bareback and trust that you actually know, you already know.
You know how to do it.
You need to
Mhm.
do it, so you need to do this yourself. And so I was like, "Well, where am I gonna go?" Sure enough, the next week, a friend of mine offered me this, like, um, to share this office, like a corporate office
Mhm.
in the top of this building that almost overlooks Sydney Harbour. And
Mm.
it was like I said, "Well, how much is that gonna be?" Well, it's in Bondi.
Right.
How much is that gonna be?" She goes, "Oh, like $80 a week." And I went, "What?" Like, that's what I mean about when you follow and you
Yeah.
go, even though you don't know what's gonna happen, even though you do think, "Oh, I don't how's that gonna work?" Stuff
Trust.
happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff shows up to support the process. And so that's what I did. So I totally agree with you, and that doesn't mean I mean, I might use cards, I love to do things like that, but actually I'm using my own intuitive ability, and I want other people. That's why I made games, right? It's like, make it
Yeah.
fun. Just practice, just play every day, just do something. Just ask, just like, "What am I having for lunch today?" And see if it varies from what you thought you were gonna have.
Yes. Yeah.
Simple. It's simple, but just play
Yep.
the game because when it gets really hard and it's tough and you've got a difficult thing you really wanna know about,
Mhm.
then you will know, "Okay, I've got this."
Right. Your muscle will be strong.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, when you did the, when we did the quantum intuition
Yeah.
healing,
Yeah.
how do you know something had changed?
Yes. So, I mean, I'm sure there'll be more evidence that I'll
Mm,
acquire. Today, one of the things that I'd spoken with Jenny about was an issue I had with a friend that kind of left me feeling hurt, emotionally. And I happened to have therapy this morning. And when I was trying to talk about it, I was like, I don't even want to. like, it's just too much energy to tell the story, like, it just like, I was like, "It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter." But then I told the story because, my therapist was like, "What? Well, what is this?" And so I told her, but it wasn't emotionally charged.
Yeah,
And it was like I felt like, "Oh god, that's just old news, I don't wanna fucking revisit it." It was just I was done,
exactly,
you
exactly, that's
know?
what happens. And so you can think about it, the memory is still there, it's all there, but nothing comes with it. It's
No.
like to me, it's like, you've got the filing cabinet, open the drawer, memories, right? You
Mhm.
open the drawer,
Yeah, yeah,
normally you've got this, like, folder, it opens up and you've got the memory, the this, who said this, the emotion, the blah, the blah, blah, blah. It's like now you open it up and it's just like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
yeah, and yeah,
And, like, there's no reactivity, there's no, and so that's like
yeah,
when whatever, stories came up that you pinpointed, once that charge is gone,
yeah.
it means that you're now free in some way, that, like, and probably it'll be the same with the other things. Something's gonna open up that you will feel more free to be or to do. I mean, we still have free will here. It's not that doing this makes us be different. It allows us to,
Mhm, mhm.
'cause, we still get to choose who we are, what we wanna do, how we wanna think, but it's with much greater ease and freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's the difference of, like, going on a hike attached to a shit ton of, like, equipment or detaching from all of it and just going on a hike.
Yeah, great. I love how you can, like, make metaphors that,
Lot of
"Oh, you're really
metaphor.
good. I'm not good at that. You're really good at that."
But it's true, it's like once you detach from all the things you think you need and just focus on what it is you said this is interesting, I wanna go back to this real quick, but, you were talking about I started doing qigong a lot, I really love qigong because to me, qigong is I've studied and taught well, I've studied for longer, but taught yoga for, like, almost 20 years, and the yoga that I learned, it was more of like a traditional Raja Hatha yoga that is done more like qigong, that slow, that
Nice.
mindful. It's
Mm.
beautiful, and it's very hard to find anyone who's willing to let me teach that or understand that because the mind is so fast. It does and how it really requires that subtle,
Yes.
slow energy. But what you were saying is that it opens up the channels to be able to see, hear, and be in touch with your intuition, but, I the same I feel with yoga. When done like that, when done properly, but when done in that way of really mindful movement. And qigong, traditional Chinese medicine, and yoga both have both have well, there's acupuncture, acupressure, and then there's marma therapy. And it's all about moving the electricity of our qi or our prana throughout the body
Mm.
to rev up the energetic being part of self. But also connect the physical and the energetic,
Absolutely.
right?
And yeah. And for me, qigong is a combination, it's like any practice. You can
Yeah.
practice qigong, you can practice yoga just as a physical thing.
Yeah.
But actually, it's a practice that extends to all the levels of our energy field. And the more that
Yes.
we cultivate that is when you start to open up a whole lot of like yourself at different levels. It
Yes.
starts out as people do, like, for example, there are different types of qigong as there are different types of yoga, and I think actually yoga came out of qigong. It's just in the different culture,
Mhm.
in the different, one's China and the other one's sort of India.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I don't think it's odd that they both have crossovers as far as and a lot of the herbs are even the same Ayurvedic, like gotu
yeah,
kola is Brahmi
same,
and
yeah. And it just depends on how you practice it. So for me, when I learnt qigong, my qigong master was as a woman, which was great. There's very few
Yeah,
qigong master women, and
yeah.
she was Australian and learned from a grandmaster here, who I also worked with. And she was very much she was a medical intuitive,
Mm,
right? So that's how I came to know. But that meant that she was very interested in, like, healing,
mhm,
which is what qigong is all about. S
mhm,
Obviously, so is, yoga, but it's she was very particular about cultivating, when we did workshops, cultivating consciousness. And not everybody does that. Not every and there aren't that many qigong teachers. It's hard
No.
to find qigong teachers. Like, yoga has become more popularized, I suppose, if you
Well, it's turned
you
into an
know?
acrobatic gymnastic,
Yeah.
physical
That's what I'm
feat.
saying. It is actually a spiritual practice as well.
Right. Well,
Using the
I remember
breath
my
and
teacher would
using
say that you can come there's 2 reasons people come to yoga, for the physical or for the spiritual. The spiritual people will get some physical, you know, benefits, and the physical people will get some spiritual benefits, but there are 2 main paths,
Yeah.
to that road. Mine, I preferred the spiritual and, liked the physical, but
And I think it depends on the teacher and what they've learned but it
and
is
there's also that.
definitely it's a
Yeah.
holistic definitely a holistic approach, and it's an energy practice.
Yeah.
And the energy practice informs the body at the physical level so that the body can heal itself,
Mhm.
so that the energy can flow. Acupuncture, that's what it's all about. So it's like for me, it definitely was part of my journey of solidifying and opening my intuitive capacity. And
Mhm.
we did a lot
Mhm.
of practices around opening that and different meditations. And they're fun as well. So, hmm,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a whole thing about the siddhis, about the gifts that you get as you progress down the line, and a lot of them are intuitive or psychic or what have you, you know?
yes. So that in my the qigong master, as I say, Glennis was a medical intuitive. The grandmaster
Mhm.
name was Zhao, and he was a master from China who'd moved to Australia, and his ability was electricity. So all he had
Mm.
to do did workshops with him. So he would just rub his fingers together, and you'd put your palm out, and he would
Mhm.
literally get an electric shock. Like you'd whoa! It's like
Yeah.
all he did was touch you.
Yeah.
So he had this, that was his sort of gift. Every Qigong master has their own special.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. That I didn't know. That's cool.
Mm,
All right. I have this beautiful offering that you are offering my listeners.
mm,
Jenny, and I'll let you talk about it. I'll just introduce it. But Jenny has a free video series of Activate Your Inner Healer. Do you want to talk about that or
yeah.
how to? Yeah.
This is like I designed this especially for people who are already intuitive, but who are maybe got some kind of something they're struggling with, particularly in the healing aspect. Maybe something
Yeah.
going on, diagnosis, or something chronic.
Hmm.
Struggling and finding that you can't tune in because you're
Hmm.
just worried. You've got decisions to make.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I put this together for people like that, or anyone really, to
Hmm.
have a go. So, and it's got 3 videos. One is exactly what I talked about before. It's the qigong, heaven and earth, and heart
Yes.
work.
Grounding. Yeah.
How to tune in, like so it gives you a
Hmm.
bit of an extended one so that you're really grounded and connected. Then there's the second part, just show how to use the number line. Once you know that,
Mm.
straightforward. And the third video is a game. So it's called Intuition Message Bank. So that
Mm.
is whatever the problem is. So you go, you're tuned in already, and you just go on your phone, like your phone. How many messages you got, right? What's the
Yes.
topic?
Oh,
The topic will be
I
you
played
just
this
say,
game all the time.
"Hey," you just have this conversation. Because for me,
Yes.
intuition is
Yes.
it's a conversation. It's not just a gut feeling. It's a conversation. You can get
It is a conversation.
information.
Yeah.
Much more than you think you do. So it's like I'll just play this game with you, and you can follow along with me, and you can get some practical information and insights just by playing the game.
I love this. I absolutely love this. I didn't even it's funny when you said the game thing. I've been playing this game forever. Like, even as a kid, I remember when we were playing cards and I remember being like, "It's gonna be a red heart. It's gonna be a red." Do you know what I mean?
That's
That I
it.
would be like,
That's
yeah,
the
it was just
game.
yeah, that's the
That's
game.
exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's why in my book I've got, Game of Intuition and how to play it. There's a half a dozen games in there, different types of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have also sometimes I'm teaching an idea as well and then applying it. So for example, there's one in there called Mirror Mirror. We were talking about before about how what's inside's outside,
Yes.
right? What's outside is we get a reflection of things that when something's happening outside that gets our attention, it's actually ourselves getting our own attention. trying to get
Mhm.
around. It's me trying to get my attention. So, I played a game, and the game looks like, okay, so what if there's something that's broke down around you recently? So this is where we play the game just for fun, and go. So it's like, oh, my phone stopped working, or my toaster blew up, or it's like because even electrical things around us, like me with my modem and all that, are showing us something. So that's like another game. So that's what I mean is like we find out like, so what's that about? What's it really about? What's it really showing you? And it'll be something specific to you.
Mhm.
Oh, and sometimes it's quite funny. You go, "Oh, okay." Like a friend I remember one of the girls in my group doing it, and it was like her blender. And when she tuned in, it was like, "Oh, my emotions have been really mixed up. Like my emotions have been spinning around." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I get it." Anyway,
Mhm.
we did this and we did played a bit of the game at the end. The next day, she was coming home from work and the guy downstairs was getting rid of some stuff from his unit, right?
Mhm.
And he goes, "Oh, do you want any of these things? How about this blender?" Like, I'm literally like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny just
Just
because
shows up.
it's not what she expects, it's not what she planned. It's like the whole I don't get to control what shows up, but it's like anyway. So that's who knows what can happen, but it's just fun.
I know. I actually had it's funny you said that, and I just thought of this. And this was like such a one of those like glitch in the matrix situations, where I had had a dream and there were like mushrooms growing all over my body, like and my legs particularly.
Okay.
It was so strange. And then but it was like they were everywhere and it wasn't a bad dream, it wasn't like whatever, but it was like they were growing on me. Anyway, I was on the next day I was walking with a friend of mine. We go for walks in the morning and I forgot about the dream. And then I look over on someone's front lawn. There were a ton of mushrooms that looked exactly like the ones in my dream, and they looked like they'd just been dumped there. So it was completely random that they were there.
So weird, right?
And I was just like, it just threw me because I was like, that was really weird. You
And
know
I
what I
think
mean?
s I think sometimes those things are like, remember that dream you had? When you get a
Yes.
dream, you know it's real.
Right.
Pay attention, right? This is just
Yeah.
for
And
fun and telling you this is a real thing that you do
yes, I
know
was
those
like, I
things.
gotta sit, I gotta go. I felt like I was like, I gotta go home right now and start journaling. Like, this is intense. But we'll have our coffee and walk instead. Anyway. Okay. How do people find you and your free video series?
Okay, so I will give you the link for the free
Yes,
video
I will
series,
add that. I'll definitely add that in the show notes.
and,
Um,
they can find me on my website, which is
mhm,
Jenny McFadden.
okay. And then it's jennymcfadden.net/inner healer for your Activate Your Inner Healer free video series.
Perfect, thanks for that.
Um, I love you. I've
I
just
love you,
so
thank you so
enjoyed
much.
talking to you and connecting with you, and I hope and know that this will not be the last time.
I'm pleased to hear it, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, and, yep, thank you for listening, and if you like, Jenny, please feel free to reach out to her and talk to her. The quantum intuition healing is where it's at, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty magical.
I'm so pleased, yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
pleased. I look forward to hearing more about that
Yeah,
coming. Yeah.
yeah, I'm very, very excited by this. It was quite lovely. And we'll be back next a couple weeks with a new insight. So make magic today. Have a great week. Bye.